Hey friend, in today's episode, we're talking about helping your children feel safe, loved, and emotionally supported during your breast cancer journey, even when life feels uncertain. We're going to talk about how to keep talking with your kids, how to help them understand treatment and body changes, how to create small moments of joy, and why you do not have to be the perfect mom to still be exactly what your children need. Because, friend, your children don't need perfection. They need you. So come sit with me. Are you scared of leaving your children behind after a breast cancer diagnosis? Are you carrying fear, exhaustion, and that mom guilt while still pushing through every day? If you're tired of holding all of that and want simple ways to support your children and feel held in your journey and move through each day with a little more strength, you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Priska. I'm a mom of two, a woman of faith, and a breast cancer survivor. As a mom, I tried to carry it all alone, but I was never meant to. So I created this space for us. Come sit with me. You don't have to do this alone. So go grab your cup of tea. Yes, that cold cup of tea. I know you've heated it thrice already. And let's get started. Hey friend, before we get started today, I just want to say I'm really proud of you for showing up for yourself today. I know life can feel really heavy sometimes, so the fact that you pressed play, it means more than you know. And if you know someone who's going through a breast cancer diagnosis who might need to hear this episode, please do share it with them. Sometimes a simple message saying, "I thought of you when I had this," can make someone feel a little less alone. And if this podcast has helped you or encouraged you in any way, please leave a written review too. I truly love hearing from you. And your reviews, they help other moms find this podcast. So let's get started. Hey friend, I don't know where you're listening from today, but I'm really glad you're here. Because today we're going to talk about something that sits so deeply in the heart of almost every mom navigating breast cancer or any type of cancer. And it's always, how do I support my children emotionally when I'm the one struggling too? And before I go any further, I want you to hear this gently today. You do not have to get this perfectly right, because I know how heavy this feels. You're trying to process your diagnosis, and you're trying to understand your treatment. You're trying to stay strong. You're trying to deal with the treatment. You're trying to keep life moving, and yet somehow your heart keeps going back to your children. Are they okay? Do they understand what's happening? Am I doing enough? And wow, that emotional weight is enormous. So before we talk about practical tips, I just want you to breathe for a second and hear this. The fact that you care about this so deeply, it says so much about the kind of a mother you are, and you're already showing up for them in more ways than you realize. So before we go to the tips, let's talk about what your children may be carrying. Because after after children hear the words "mom has cancer," they start to carry things too. Even when they don't always know how to say it, it's there. Inside they may be wondering, is mom going to be okay? Is she going to die? Why is everything changing? Who will take care of me? What if she dies? And sometimes children carry these fears very quietly. And that's what makes it so hard as a parent, because you can't always see what's happening inside them. And now let's talk about the part you are carrying as a mom quietly. To prepare for this episode, I spoke to other moms who had walked this road before. And the one thing that came up again and again, it is that quiet pressure to stay strong, to keep functioning, to keep smiling, to keep everyone emotionally safe, while inside you're quietly carrying your own terrifying thoughts. It's, thoughts like, will they grow up without a mom? And that thought specifically, it doesn't disappear just because you're being brave. It sits underneath everything, even during normal moments when you're laughing and when you're trying to stay hopeful. It's always there. And so if that's where you are right now, I want you to know that I feel you, I hear you, I see you, and God sees you too. And there's a verse that feels so gentle for this period and for this season. Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10, and it says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. I will strengthen you and help you." How does help look like? Or how does strength look like? So what I realized is sometimes strength in this season doesn't look loud. It looks like I got out of bed. I am here having another meal with my kids. I'm answering another question from my kids. And I'm showing up for my children when my own heart is breaking. And God still calls that strength. And also those same children, they will become your strength. There's one mom that shared something that was so profound. She said she was diagnosed when her son was only 11 months old. And she said physically, it was the most exhausting thing to try to care for a baby while going through treatment. But then she said something beautiful. He became my blessing in disguise. Because on the days she wanted to give up, she kept going because of him. And honestly, that's what our children become during this journey. It's not the pressure, it's not the obligation, but it's the quiet motivation, a reason to keep fighting on these hard days. So keep going, keep showing up, your kids will carry you. So now let's start with the tips, and I'm gonna start with you. The first tip is, Mom, you've got to learn to let go. Let go, just a little. Because there will be moments, I can assure you, there'll be moments during treatment when you have to let other people step in. It could be grandparents, it could be friends, family, church members, who you have around you. Because you will need help, with school pickups, dinner, food, shopping, all the activities that you've normally done when you've been healthy. And honestly, that can feel harder emotionally than people realize. Because as moms, you're used to doing everything for ourselves, for our kids, for our families, because we take pride in that. But I want you to hear this. Letting other people love your children is not replacing you. It's surrounding them with more love while you heal. So let go, just a little. Let go and let people in. Tip number 2, bring your children in your journey of changes. Because you will change and your children will notice the changes. Your body will change, your energy will change, your appearance will change. And children notice that. I remember us having a conversation with my son, probably quite later on. And he said something that stopped me in my tracks. And he said, I've had 3 moms. I've had the mom before cancer, the mom during cancer, and the mom after cancer. And he said the middle version was hard for him because he didn't recognize that mom. He's like, I didn't know that mom and I didn't like that mom. If there's something I could do, I would not have that mom. Because he felt helpless. And that helped me understand something so deeply. And I'm going to share it with you so that it can help you. Our children are trying to make sense of what they're seeing too. As it happens to you, they're watching all these changes. And sometimes gently explaining these changes as they happen helps them feel safer. So bring them in and keep telling them this is what's going to happen as they happen, so that they can know that, okay, this is what mom is. This is who mom is. Tip number 3, which is just a follow-on of that. Keep talking. Keep talking with your kids even when it feels hard. One thing I've learned over time is that children don't need just that one conversation. They need many, many small conversations, little check-ins, ongoing reassurance. Don't try to be strong and protect them. As I was saying, just recently, my son told me that he wished he understood more about what was happening to me, because that's how he processes things. You tell him, this is what's happening, he processes it and he knows that it's happening. And my daughter also shared that every time I went for chemo, she was afraid I wouldn't come home because, in her mind, chemo is this scary stuff. And that broke my heart, because in my mind, I was trying to protect them by not saying too much of the struggles I was carrying or the fears. I thought I was being strong. But inside, they were feeling in the gaps in their minds themselves. So I'll encourage you to keep talking. And remember, when you explain what's happening, as you use gentle and age-appropriate words, you help shape the picture in their minds. Because when children don't understand, just as adults, their imagination often creates something much scarier. So take the lead, explain to them what's happening, so then you can help shape that picture in their mind. And in that way, they'll feel safer, they'll feel less lost, more included, and they'll feel like, yep, we're in this together. So keep talking. Not perfectly, not all at once, just little by little. Another very important tip would be bring them into your journey so that you can help them understand your world. One of the suggestions is, if it feels right, and depending with what works for you, the age of your children, sometimes allowing children to see part of your treatment world can help them to, the many hospital appointments, maybe go with them to chemo rooms, or, just go with them in one of the things that you actually have to be part of in your treatment world. Because children imagine things when they don't know. So when they hear you've gone to chemo, they don't know how that looks. As we know, the reality is less frightening than the imagination. So you could take them with you for the appointments and then follow with something lighter and fun, maybe an ice cream or a little treat or a fun stop after that. So then that memory isn't carried by fear, because you bring in a safety wrapped around it too. There's chemo, and then there was going for a treat. So when every time you go to chemo, they know, okay, it's not so bad. So think about that. And some families as well involve their children in shaving hair before treatment begins. So again, that's another thing that you can bring your children in your journey, in your world. And whether tears come or laughter comes, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that you're walking through it together. I've got one of my best tips, which I use it even in my daily life. It's find little pockets of joy. This tip was shared to me by a mom, and she said something I'll never forget. She said that even on days that she had absolutely no energy, she still tried creating tiny moments of joy. Like when she had this just little upsurge of energy, she would wake up, and even if it was just driving to go for a treat, instead of walking, somewhere she could walk. On a normal walk, it's probably a 5-minute walk. She would get in the car and drive for 2 minutes. Or sometimes she could take the kids out to the park and just watch them playing. And what she said was that watching her children light up in those moments, it reminded her that it doesn't have to be big for it to matter. because children remember connection more than perfection. So look out for those little pockets of joy, and you will see how much it can light the world. I'd also encourage you to talk to your village. Your village is the support around you. Encourage your village to also look out for your children, to support them, because your children need support outside of you. When you're very overwhelmed, they will need to lean in on other people around you. So one mom said that she felt like when she was sick, she had so much support. Everyone checked in on her emotionally, kept checking in, but not on her kids, because they assumed, well, the kids are fine. They've got food, but no one really checked in on the kids emotionally. And so that's something important to think about, that as you want to support your kids, encourage the people around you to check in emotionally on your kids, because they do need a lot of that support. So it could be your family, friends, or teachers, or any trusted adults around in their life. Encourage them to keep checking in to make sure that kids are going fine. And as I finalize on the tips, one thing I'd like you to know, that in this world, you are never meant to do this alone, because there's so many resources out there. If you go online, you will find tips on how to support your kids emotionally. I'm sure you've gathered a few tips from this episode that we've talked about. You've got support within your church communities or support groups. But what I'd encourage you as much is let people help you. Let people help hold your family through this, because you do not have to carry everything yourself. Because there will be days that you feel like you cannot keep going anymore, and somehow your children will become part of what carries you through. And one day you will look back and realize that while you are trying to protect them, they were also giving you the strength to survive. So if today you're sitting there wondering, am I doing enough? Let me answer that gently for you. Yes, you are. You are loving them. You are trying. You're showing up in the middle of something unimaginably so hard. And that matters more than perfection ever will. Because this journey is not about being the perfect mom. It's about presence. It's about love. It's about grace. And my friend, motherhood was never meant to be carried by your strength alone. On the days you feel worn down, overwhelmed, or afraid, remember God's promise. He says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in your weakness." You do not need to be a perfect mom. His grace is enough for you, and it covers you and your children too. I'll see you in the next episode. I hope this episode held you in some small way today. And if it did, please share with a friend who needs to hear this, or maybe needs a soft place to land. And if you feel ready, please leave a written review for the podcast. I'd truly love to hear from you and to know that this show is supporting you in your journey. This space, it's not just mine, it is ours. So now go take a breath, maybe reheat that tea one more time, and I'll meet you back here for the next episode. Ciao.